Hi, let's start today's editorial. A riot of losers. Bolsonaro should concede defeat and ask his supporters to stand down. Well, before he was defeated by Liz Naluco Lula da Silva in last year's presidential elections in Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro repeatedly said that if he failed to get re-elected, it could only be through fraud. He called his political rivals thieves and warned of violence if voted out. After his election defeat, he refused to concede publicly 2 days ahead of Lula's inauguration on January 1. He left for Brazil for Florida while his supporters continued to stage camp protests outside Brasilia's army headquarters. Unsurprisingly, a week after Lula was inaugurated, thousands of Mr. Bolsonaro's supporters stormed the institutional trinity of Brazil democracy, the presidential palace, the Supreme Court, and Congress, saying the elections was stolen and demanded that the military shut down Lula's government. Mr. Bolsonaro's supporters has to take the blame for what happened in Brasilia on Sunday. What was reminiscent of the January 6, 2021 riots at the US Capitol by Donald Trump's supporters. While in power, he had flirted with the anti-institution conspiracy pending far-right wings of Brazilian polity. Mr. Bolsonaro, a fan of the military dictatorship, had little respect for the country's institutions. His silence, along with support from Brazil's wealthy classes, seems to have empowered the protesters to invade state institutions on Sunday. For Lula, the riots posed the first major challenge to his presidency. He sent the local police under the control of Brasilia's governor Ibrahim Rocha. A Bolsonaro elite did not enough to stop the invaders, but Lula quickly deployed federal security officials cleaning the rioters of street buildings. The Supreme Court also stepped in, ordering the military police to clear the camps of Mr. Bolsonaro's supporters outside the military headquarters and removed Mr. Roja from office for 3 months. But that is not enough for its own political stability. Brazil should put an end to this election related crisis. Until now, its institutions have dealt with threats from the fringe group with maturity, but Brazil, a relatively young democracy, has not so distinct violent past, and its leaders should not entail any kind of threats to its democratic stability. Brazil should get to the bottom of the riots through a probe, bring all the culprits from the instigators and the financiers to the participants to justice, and make sure that such an incident does not occur again. Meanwhile, the least Mr. Bolsonaro could do pending probe is to publicly concede that he was defeated in the elections and asked his supporters to accept this fact and respect the country's constitution. Thank you very much. Let's know in the comment section.